My scripture reading is taken from the book of John, chapter 14, first through the first verse. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go, ye know, and the way you know. Thus is the scripture reading of John 14th chapter, first through the fourth verse. Again, I say unto you, good morning and many blessings. Let not your heart be troubled. In other words, don't worry about a thing. For if your faith is grounded and rooted in God, you don't have a thing to worry about. But this scripture and this from the physical or metaphysical standpoint of the man Jesus speaking. If ye believe in God, believe also in me. And then let us get an understanding of what's being said. So when the man Jesus is speaking, saying, if you believe in God, also believe in me, he's not speaking about his humanity. He's not speaking about his physical existence. He's speaking about that Christ consciousness that is or was in the man, manifesting in and through him as the I am. Manifesting and expressing in and through him as the I am. If ye believe in God, also believe in I am. When we use I am in reference to ourselves, we are using and speaking the name of God. And if you believe in God as the great I am within you, greater things shall you do. For Jesus said to his disciples, as he was demonstrating the healing ability, he said, if ye believe, greater things than these shall you do. Greater things than those things that he demonstrated, he said to his disciples, you shall do also by the power of I am within you. And scripture goes on to state wherein Jesus said, in a sense, to his disciples, I go and prepare a place for you, and I will come again and receive you unto myself. That place of preparation takes place within our consciousness. You see, when we start to affirm the I am that is within us, it raises us to a higher state of consciousness. And then we come to know that we are one with the source. We are one with God. You've heard me say so many times in the past, we cannot be separated from the source. It's all one. The source is one manifesting and expressing as the many. So when we get beyond the physical existence or thinking that this is what we are, when we get beyond that worldly mind that causes us to feel and think that we are physical beings and that's all that there is, then we come to know the very truth of that which we are. And as the master teacher taught, as he said, I will come again and receive you unto myself. And these words, he said, where I am. Let me say that to you again. Where I am. This is the man Jesus speaking from that higher state of consciousness. There ye may be also. Jesus was saying to his disciples, you and I, down through the years, that where I am, in consciousness, in spirit, and in knowing, you may be also. You see, Jesus was speaking and saying that that which I am, that which is manifesting and expressing in and through this physical body, so it is and can be with you. And he goes on to say, whither I go, ye know, and the way ye know. You know, when we hear these truths and we read these truths and we understand these truths, we come to realize and to know that the teachings of the master teacher Jesus, he was saying, that which I am, so are you. And yet many say, oh, well, I can't be like Jesus. Jesus had all of this power. Jesus was the begotten Son of God. Jesus came from God. Well, where did you come from? Have you stopped to ask yourself the question, where did you come from? Yeah, I would say that number one, you would say, well, I came from my mother, came from the womb of my mother. Your physical body came forth from the womb of your mother. But where did your spirit come from? from whence came your spirit that incarnated into the physical body and gave it life. Your mother and your father didn't give your physical body life. Your mother and your father came together and created a physical body. But it was the spirit, and it is the spirit within you that has given you life. That's the beauty of knowing that you're not a physical body, that you're more than the physical body. I want to take this a little deeper or a little higher to another level. When you die, what part of you died? Now, while we are conscious in this physical body and while we are doing and thinking that one day we want to go to heaven, yet we have to deal with the demise of the physical body. We know that one day we're going to have to give up this body. It won't be anymore. We're going to put it in the ground so we might incinerate it. But if that's the case with the physical body, what part of us goes or experience that state of heaven? That's what you have to ask yourself. And that is what you have to know. But let me say this to you, because the masses of people think that heaven is someplace up here, out in the sky, up in the heavens, up on some other planet or something like that. But did not the master teacher Jesus teach the kingdom is within you? Right now, while you're in the physical, the kingdom exists within you. So you don't have to die to experience the kingdom of heaven. It's right there. Been there all the time. But we've been looking outside of ourselves, looking up in the sky and all this other kind of place, and all you see up there is the sun, the moon, the stars, and you see some airplanes flying over. You don't see any angels up there flying around. And you don't see Gable standing up there blowing his horn. But that's where we're looking. And we've lost sight. We are losing sight of the truth of where the kingdom is. And so that's why so many are suffering and experiencing all types of things that is not conducive to their spiritual growth and unfoldment. Looking outside of themselves for the truth, and the truth has always been with them. One of the issues is we are so busy with the things of the outer world that we don't have or take the time to be still and look within us. Not going to find it anywhere else. The world cannot give you peace. The world cannot give you health. The world cannot give you prosperity and success. It can give you a measure of prosperity and success. But at what cost to you? You know, they're saying that you work yourself to the bones to have this and that. And I've known people over the years that have worked all of their lives and didn't live long enough to enjoy all that they had worked for. Their whole focus was on the material and the physical things of life, not on God, not on the spiritual things of life, not on the things that made it possible for them to have what it is that they have. I've worked with people that have died on the job, dropped dead on the job. And then you say or ask yourself, these people have worked all of their life and not be able to enjoy. Didn't live long enough to enjoy. Didn't live long enough to retire. But their whole focus was acquiring what they could in the outer world and not giving attention or nourishing that which was within. You sell yourself short. You know, it said that scripture that Judas forsaken Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. And what that means is that for 30 pieces of silver, Judas sold his soul. He turned away from the Christ consciousness or the spiritual understanding within him for the material things of the world. And so many of God's children live for the material things of the world. And then when something happens that the material things of the world cannot solve, the first thing we say is, oh God. Well, I'm sick. I'm feeling kind of out of whack here. I've got to go to the doctor. But you know, the doctors, bless them for all the great work that they do have done. They can only treat the symptoms, not the cause. And the cause is always internal, mental, I'm going to share something with you, very personal. And you know, I do my very best to let go of past events in my life. Well, there was a time when I was in the world, mentally, physically, and in a sense, spiritually. My whole life was about the physical and the material things of the world. And for a time, I thought I was doing quite well at that. But then something happened to me. And I couldn't figure out what I had did to bring this about upon me. And I don't make this story just as short as I can, but I hope you get the message. I was seeped in the world. I was coming home one day from work, and always my habit was, especially on Friday payday, I go home. Living with my mother, I would go home and give my mother her portion. And that was a place that I would pass every day where I used to hang out. It was called a beer garden where folks got together, drank beer, and shoot the breeze, as they say. And as I was walking past this particular hangout spot on Friday with my paycheck in my pocket, I always knew that if I stopped in there before I went home, my money was going to be gone. Because it's one bottle of beer, then it's another bottle of beer, and then you got friends coming in, tapping you on the shoulder, and you want to sit up the house. But there was this young lady that I was dating at the time. As I walked past the restaurant where she knew the time, she was standing out there waiting, and she beckoned for me. And I said, "No, got to go home first. You know the role. Go home first." But that was not good enough. I went on home as I normally do. Took care of my mother, sitting down watching a favorite program, Gomer Pyle. Some of you young folks can remember Gomer Pyle. That was my means of letting go after a day's work. Sit on, watch some uh, comedy program. And she walked in, stood in front of me in the TV. And I asked her to move. And her words to me, she said, "I've come to kill you." What? Get out of my way. And she reached in her, she had gone home and changed her clothes and put on a house coat. And she reached in her house coat and she pulled out a gun and she shot me right there in my mother's house. Never forget it as long as day I live. Mother, my sister was sitting in the back in the kitchen, heard the gunshot go off, and I heard them scream. Well, when she turned and ran out of the house, I followed after her, and then I fell unconscious on the streets. What a sad, bad place for a man to fall down and die on the streets. But anyway, by the grace of God, somebody called the ambulance. I think my mother, somebody got me to the hospital. And I want to make this as short as I can, but there were two detectives before they had taken me into the operating room that stood on either side of my stretcher. while there was some attendants or doctors were doing, putting tubes and everything in me. And he said, "Sir, you better tell us who shot you." He said, "Because we had a man shot in the same place that you were shot and he died." And right there at that moment, on that stretcher, when that man said to me, in a sense, there's a possibility that you're going to die, so you might as well tell us who did it. And I said within myself, "God, if you let me live, I will serve you for the rest of my life." I was asking, I was begging for my life. And then I remember I was gone. That was all. I was dark, lost all awareness. And I came to sometime later, I don't know, after whatever they did that they had to do to me to take the bullet out of me and all. And I woke up in the recovery room, all white. And I might have heard me share this with you. It was all white everywhere in this recovery room. I thought I had died and went to heaven. I thought I had died and went to heaven until I realized that the person, I was lying there at the stretcher, and then I felt something kind of nudge me, and I looked over there. She was the woman that had shot me. And I said to myself, "Oh my goodness, I done died and gone to heaven. Here she there in heaven too." The moral of that story is this: when you surrender to the God within you, and you have made the statement, you have confessed that from this moment on, you're going to serve God and not the things of the world, not the people of the world. Only God can give you life, and only God can keep it from being taken away from you. So when I realized that God had given me another chance, I had said, "It's time for me to get my act together." We never know at what time or what day or what moment something might befall us that is beyond our control. People say you live for the moment. I said live for God. Live for God. Because every moment of your life that you have, it is because of God. And if you don't appreciate and give reverence to that source that has made it possible for you to have life, and you're rolling the dice, you're taking a chance. You have no protection. The world cannot protect you, only God. But you don't go through life being afraid, worrying, being frustrated, If you're doing all that you are supposed to do and all that you can do to live in accordance to the truth of that which you are, you don't have a thing to worry about. Not a thing. Everything will be taken care of, and you will never ever have a need for anything because God will supply your every need till your cup runneth over. Stop looking to the world for your good, for the world has no good to give you, only God. And if there is good coming to you from the world, it is coming through a channel or an instrument that God is using to bless you. That's why I said to you in your prayers and in your meditations, bless every man, woman, and child, regardless of what they've done to you, what they haven't done to you, because God will use them as instruments to do for you what you have asked or what it is that needs to be done. You know, as Jesus said to his disciples and to us, I go and prepare. In my Father's house are many mansions, and the mansions represents different states of consciousness. Each state of consciousness within you can be a mansion. You're never without the allness, the wholeness, the goodness, and the completeness of God. Right there within you. Has always been. So, brothers, well, don't see brothers here today, but I am. Sisters, as you walk this path of spiritual growth and unfoldment, to know that it is the God within you that maketh it so. God has given you life. Now, what are you going to do with it? God has given you life. Now, what are you going to do with it? That's the question. What is they said? The $64,000 question? Well, it's more than that. What am I going to do with this that God has given me? God bless you. Namaste.